Hi friends, welcome back to Arc Tutorials. This is Bootstrap 5 full tutorial series for absolute beginners. In today's episode, we are going to learn about how to implement Bootstrap dropdowns. Talk about an extending a menu or showing user within multiple options. Dropdown absolutely does magic. It is one of those components which really adds user interactivity and enhances our user experience. Let's learn all about it and learn how to implement it in one of our applications that we are building. Welcome back friends. This is part 21 of the Bootstrap 5 full tutorial series. I have planned around 40 tutorials, so today we are on 20th. That means halfway down. So make sure that you have checked out the previous videos. We have covered all the topics in detail, including some live projects that we have done. Alright, so let's get started with Bootstrap dropdown. So the important classes that you should, the utility classes that you should be aware are dropdown, which will work as a outer wrapper, right? So we'll take a div, which is an outer wrapper, call it dropdown. Then you need a button on which you can actually click and then expand the menu, right? So that button is your dropdown hyphen toggle, right? So dropdown hyphen toggle. Now this tells that it is a data hyphen toggle equal to dropdown, right? Which means when you click on it, it should show. Again, you click on it, it should hide the menu. And what is the menu? It's here, ULLI list, right? So this is a simple dropdown hyphen menu, then items, right? So this is a basic example of dropdowns. Now I'll show you some variations of how you can use it in your actual real-time applications. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I have we are still working on this example called ibm-example.html. We built this, so make sure that you check out the previous videos because we learned to build an entire schemas, things like this, right? We built the menu, header, everything. So this is an example of a drop down. So let me show you to you again how to implement it, right? So like you can go to the documentation and go to drop downs. So this is the toggling, right? Very simple, like you see here. So just copy this code. Again, I always tell people don't try and type yourself, right? Don't code everything by yourself because you may, chances are you may end up missing out one of the class or something. So it's always best to copy something working copy skeleton and then grow on it, right? So let's get started. So what I'm going to do is in the li, right? The li list, let's add one more, and this I'm going to call issues, right? And here we will design class now item drop down. So I'm telling that this is an outer element which will hold it and the name of which is drop down, right? And I told you we'll need a button or a link through which you can click and say data hyphen toggle, right? So here you will mention what you want to toggle, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy from the top, right? So this is simple. It has a data toggle option drop down, and we'll just give a role button, and let's give the name that you want. Here we'll say issues. So let's see this in action. So you go to the here, now you see issues. You click on it, nothing happens because there is no menu yet. So let's define that ULLI menu, or you can just copy it from the here, right? It's pretty simple, straightforward, nothing fancy, right? So you have an outer element called dropdown. You have a button or a link which will be dropdown hyphen toggle, and you set the data toggle to dropdown. That means it will now be a dropdown, and then you're passing a simple menu which is dropdown hyphen menu, right? Now this is used in multiple use cases. Let me show you that. So now you see, now it is opening up a drop down here. This is one way where I have a link and I'm using it as a drop down. If you see here, I'm using it now for a multiple action, right? So this is also a drop down. So there are multiple use cases that you can do with drop down, but you get an essential idea that whenever you want something to be displayed as a drop down, you can always make use of the drop down utility class and then mention the menu, right? And then you can always customize options like say primary, background, secondary, warning, right? So just toggle the class name, right? So you give a, in this case, right, let's say there's a button here which I have put, right? So here I'm saying button primary. So now you see this will become blue color, right? So it has become primary. So that's how you can use the utility classes, the colors. Now you can also use it as a split button. So you see this, the difference is here there is these two are in the same, right? It's not split. Whereas when you say split button, it can be like this, like you can have more options, right? So this is yet another cool thing that you can use. Copy it. Let's use it here. So see, now you have action and draw. So you have two right now. So let me remove that. All right, let me have it here, and I'm going to comment the previous drop down. That's only simple one, right? So now let's keep adding to it, and that's the beauty. All right, so now you have, see, now this is one action, this is another set of action that you want, right? So this is again danger class. Now you want, you can use any say warning. So now you have two, right? Right, so you have action and then the split basically. That's one. Then the other thing is you can use sizing, right? So you can use small, large. By default, it's medium, right? You can also use small, like you can say BT and SM. This is functionality of your button, not of the menu, right? The menu will be the same, right? It's only the button size which you can increase or decrease, which is what is a property of the button. Similarly, you can also have dark layout, right? So you can say drop down menu dark, and you would see the dark menu. Again, if your theme is for dark, you can customize that also, right? All right, so I showed you the navbar example. Then you can also specify the option as to where the menu should go. It can go up. If let's say for some reason you want in your application to go up, you can use drop up instead of drop down, right? So that's again something that's really cool that you can use. So for that, you can, instead of saying drop down, you can say drop up, right? Oh, let me check the spelling. Drop down hyphen menu, but here it should be drop up, right? So the class is drop up, right? But there has to be space, so it has to go at the top, right? So you can just copy the code and go along with it. So that's something that we can always fix up. Similarly, drop right, drop left, and menu items. All right, so the remaining classes like active, disabled is something that are common to most HTML Bootstrap components that you have used, right? That's pretty much I would say about it. This is responsive also. You can use text, you can use dividers. These are utility classes from the Bootstrap itself, so should not matter whether you use it or not, right? But overall, you get an idea that whenever you want to use somewhere, wherever you want to use a drop down, you can always use the drop down component, right? So go ahead, use it in your application. I'll see you in the next episode where we will start learning about Bootstrap tooltips. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you in the next episode.